Hello, everybody, and welcome to this eMarketer Academy webinar this morning. Look forward to inspiring you on ways that you can use your eMarketer platform and your SuperOffice CRM together to really increase the value of your time spent on your marketing projects, and also actually helping your colleagues love the CRM even more and make it the place where they get used to going for every piece of information you have about marketing projects and exciting things that you're working on together with your team on your marketing campaigns and so on. So that is really what we're going to focus on today. Thanks for joining. I hope that this will be inspiring for you guys. All right. So as mentioned, today the topic is 5 smart things you can do to be a marketing rock star in SuperOffice. Maybe that's a bit of a tall order, but bear with me. I think this whole notion of being a rock star or kind of being a superhero in marketing is something that we need from time to time, because in marketing we work with so many different things, and a lot of the stuff we do are focused outside the organization, right? It's focused on customers and prospects and events and things that are happening outside the organization. And from time to time, it just feels really good to show off what you are doing to your colleagues. You know, that's the ego side of things. On the organizational part of things, it really has to do with getting everybody on the same page. What are we working on? Why are we doing it? What's going on right now? And doing all of that without relying too much on emails and one-to-one communication, just making sure that you communicate in an effective way with your colleagues. Okay, my name is Klaus. I am a product evangelist here at eMarketer, so I'm helping you guys get inspiration and ideas about how you can use a product like eMarketer, and in this case, how eMarketer and SuperOffice plays together and how you can really get the most out of your time and money spent on we're going to be 45 minutes or so today here on the webinar. Please do go ahead and ask me questions throughout the webinar. Some of it may be a little bit technical. If you want me to show more in detail or give other examples, just let me know in the questions box. That's by far the easiest way. That way it won't just be a monologue as well. It'll be kind of a dialogue as we go through the setting today. I will record and share with you the recording after the webinar and the slides as well. So if there are things that you are afraid of missing out on, if some of the settings and some of the technicalities I go through, don't worry, you can always go back in the recording and see exactly what I did. And you can also see in the slides the different steps you need to go through to do the stuff that we're seeing today. So don't worry about that, but do send me questions. I'll be thrilled to take up those questions either during the webinar or at the Q&A session at the end to flesh out some of the thoughts that you guys have there. It's always inspiring to hear other people's questions as well, because you may, be kind of in your own little tunnel vision with what you're doing. So getting those inputs from other users is pretty beneficial for all of us. So yeah. So objectives today: 5 tips and tricks to rock your CRM. And they have to do with how to share what you're doing in marketing inside the CRM. Now, that's good for you working in marketing, because then you don't have to send all those email reports and PowerPoint presentations and whatnot. You can just put things straight into the CRM. And it's fantastic for the CRM users, because things that are important to your colleagues, be it sales or account managers, they should be able to see the results of your marketing in real time right inside the CRM. So we'll provide useful information for the CRM users, and most importantly, I guess, is we'll do this. This doesn't mean more work for you, it means less work. So working, I know it's a cliche, but working smarter and not harder with the stuff that you do by automating stuff and by making stuff available where people are anyways, right? In the CRM system. I work at eMarketer, as mentioned. We are a marketing automation platform provider. We've been in the market since 2002, born in the cloud. So we've been around the block a few times, and we've partnered with SuperOffice way back. So we've been developing our product and technology and integrations closely together with the SuperOffice team. So if you're using both platforms, they tie great in together. I am getting a report from some users that audio is not coming through. I hope this is not a general problem. If some of you that can actually hear me can just let me know that I am coming through. Okay, I'm getting reports that this audio is coming through. So the guys that, difficult to say, obviously, to the people who can't hear me. If you can't hear me, try to log in and log out. So I will just quickly type an answer, try logging in and out again. There we go. Okay, so at least I know that you guys are there and you found the questions box, because I can see that your comments are coming through there. Excellent. Thank you so much, guys. So just one slide on what eMarketer is all about, in case you don't know us and primarily know SuperOffice. So eMarketer is this platform with a lot of different tools in it that helps you do your marketing. So all the way from your newsletters to surveys, evaluations, contact forms, call to action forms, mobile marketing, text messaging, mobile apps, website tracking, landing page building, events management with invitations, registrations, confirmations, mobile apps, barcode scanning, all these different components that you use from time to time or daily in your marketing projects, they are all in the platform. So if you can do one, if you can do the newsletter, you can do the rest because they're all on the same platform. So not only that, for the user, that's a great benefit, but also having everything in one place means that you can dashboard and report and measure your performance in just one place, and you can automate everything in one place. So everything that happens in your emails or in your forms or in your event management, you can automate these tasks that normally are quite repetitive and that requires you to be kind of managing data back and forth between systems. Everything can happen automatically here. And then when tied into SuperOffice, obviously, we get a lot of different benefits added in the SuperOffice CRM. You get reports on what people are doing and what contacts are doing. You can see everything that's happening on the marketing side straight from the CRM system. So that's basically eMarketer on a slide. It may seem a little bit daunting. Do I really need all of these things? But rest assured, everything is in the platform. So again, if you can do the emails, you can do the rest of the stuff that's on the buffet here. And the idea, obviously, of having everything in one place is it's easy for you as a user, but also for your leads and customers that experience your marketing, you know, your emails, your websites, your campaigns, your events. They have a really nice, uniform and homogeneous experience with your brand, since everything comes from that same platform. And since it's tightly integrated into SuperOffice, yeah, as mentioned, the sales guys, the account managers, your colleagues, customer service, they can see everything that goes on the marketing side as well with that transparency. So let's get right to it and talk about what does a CRM marketing rockstar do? Well, lots of stuff, obviously, but here are some of the bullets that I found interesting here. Primarily to your colleagues, you make it easy to find information, right? We don't want our colleagues to go off into different systems, different reports, email attachments, deep dive into SharePoint drives to find the stuff that they need. We want to make it handy and easy for them to access the information that helps them during their workday. Be it information that has to do with their customers or information that has to do with your organization, make it easy. And I think one of the key things there is making SuperOffice the place you go to get information, right? Instead of sending an attachment, can you make that attachment available in a smart way in the SuperOffice CRM? Then you have a good reason to do that because your colleagues are already there, which in turn also helps the CRM adoption. And by CRM adoption, I mean, how accepted is the use of the CRM for the users? Is it like kind of a stick and carrot situation here? You got to give people something that's interesting, that's motivating, that's easy, that helps them do the job better, and the CRM is really a key component there. But the more value and information and ease we can add into the CRM, the better and the more accepted and adopted it will be in the company. We help people save time. You know, that's quite rockstar-ish, I guess. Save time, be more effective, be in the know, so that you always know what's going on with your customers and what's going on with projects in the marketing team and the sales team. Cut down on internal emails. You know, who enjoys long threads of email dialogues about an event or about a campaign or about the latest version of a PowerPoint slide deck? You know, these emails, they're archived. You never know whether it's the latest version you have, and you spend time drilling through your inboxes there and mining for that piece of information that you're looking for. Get rid of that and put that into a central place where you are always keeping track of what is the latest release of something, and you can just put it in a central place in the CRM. And of course, aligning sales and marketing, making sure that we focus on the same stuff, that we help sales find the information they need in an easy way. That is also what a marketing rockstar does. So let's have a look at the 5 tips and ideas that I have for you to help your organization be more effective, help the stuff that you do in marketing surface for your colleagues in sales and account management. All right, so the first tip is use automations to generate insights. And automations are really a broad category here. It's everything that you have set up to happen automatically. And so just let's go through just a brief terminology here when we talk about automations, because it may mean different things to different people. So for us, an automation is kind of a recipe or an instruction that tells eMarketer to do something. It consists of a trigger and an action, right? The trigger is something that needs to happen before the action can take place. The action can be something you create in the CRM system, or it can be sending an email to a new contact person. There are a lot of different actions there. So let's have a look at the different components. So you have a trigger that sets off your automation. For instance, someone clicks a link in an email, or someone answers one of your call to action forms. And then you want the action to happen. And that is really the event that you want eMarketer to carry out. For instance, after someone specific link, wait a couple of days and send out automatically a follow-up email, or create a task in SuperOffice, or create a sale in SuperOffice, or add someone to a project, or any of all the other things you can do with automations. For some automations, you can add a delay. For instance, in this case, if you click something, wait a couple of hours or wait a couple of days and then send the follow-up. So you can time and schedule your triggers and automations, triggers and actions to be in a nice flow that you have thought out. So that is basically an automation. You need something to trigger something, and then you need the action to happen. Those are the components of an automation. And let's look at what kind of triggers we have available. So again, eMarketer being your marketing platform, you have your emails. So when emails are opened, sent, links are clicked, or specific links are clicked, those can be triggers. So you can listen for different things in your email campaigns. With your forms, so they could be contact forms, evaluations, surveys, and whatnot, you can listen for when the forms are submitted or submitted with specific answers. That can be a trigger as well. You've got your landing pages. Maybe you do an event and you have a landing page for the event. You can listen for link clicks on that landing page and automate whenever someone engages with those landing pages. If you build mobile apps, you can also automate when people use your mobile app. They fill out forms in the app, or they click buttons and links in the app. You can have stuff happen automatically in eMarketer and in SuperOffice. And lastly, if you send text messages, you can listen for those as well, listen for the engagements that your recipients have with those. So basically, these are all the things that you can listen for in eMarketer that can trigger something. And the actions in eMarketer are also very varied, but here just a glimpse of all of those. You can send emails, send SMSs, build lists, update contact cards, update the legal basis for your consent to communicate to them, subscribe and unsubscribe them, and much, much more. So a whole slew of things that are available in eMarketer for you to typically automate the communication to your customers and your prospects. Now, if we turn to SuperOffice, let's have a look at the stuff we can do automatically there. Again, you have all your triggers. When any of these things happen, you can do some things automatically in SuperOffice. For instance, create a new sale, create an open or closed activity in SuperOffice. You can add a new lead or new company to SuperOffice. So if somebody that is working at a company that you do not have yet created in SuperOffice, is that if they engage and trigger some of your automations, we can automatically create these companies in your SuperOffice CRM. We can add and remove people from selections, projects. We can update interest codes on the contacts, and we can update the consent and legal basis for your storage and marketing purposes in the CRM. So we have a good sync and be GDPR compliant there across the marketing and the CRM platforms. So these are the things you can do automatically when things happen on the marketing side. So when someone signs up for a campaign or requests some material from you on the website, you can send it to them automatically, and you can create a task automatically in the CRM saying, please, dear account owner, follow up with your customer. They have requested XYZ. And the neat thing about the actions there over in SuperOffice, they flow completely seamlessly into the SuperOffice experience. So it won't be different than when people create a note or a meeting in the CRM themselves. The eMarketer automations will look exactly like they do. Here's a question from Katrin. Are these actions possible with SuperOffice on-premise? Yes, they are. We are integrating to both SuperOffice Online in the cloud and SuperOffice on-premise on your own servers. So what you're seeing today here is possible both online and on-premise, Katrina. So thanks for that question. That was an easy one. I like to start off with those. All right, so let's look at what automations can do and an example. So let's move on to a simple example here, where a seamlessly simple interaction for one of your leads creates a whole series of events in the SuperOffice CRM. So we have an email that has gone out to one of our leads with a brochure, and when they click and open this brochure, they obviously go onto your website and they can go through this brochure or case or price list or whatever it is that you have sent to them in this campaign. Now, I want to make sure that this does not happen in a black box in marketing. I want to make sure that my colleagues working in SuperOffice CRM have completely taps on what's going on here. So here's an example of all the things that could happen automatically just based on that one link click there. So the first thing is that we create or we could create an open activity. In this case, we'll call it telephone out, invite Klaus for a test drive. He's downloaded the brochure for Porsche. So again, this is not just something I'm dreaming up. Maybe this is what I've talked to my sales team about. When people engage with this piece of content, I want you, or we should be calling them, inviting them for a meeting or a demo or whatever it is that makes sense in your case here. So the activity is added to the responsible owner in SuperOffice. So it's found in the calendar, in the to-do list, and of course on the company and on the contact activity tab there. If they open up the activity, they can see exactly what's been going on, which email was clicked, which links were clicked, and so on. We also go ahead and add the person to a project automatically called test drives, because we want to invite him to a test drive, and that's what we keep tabs on in this project. In our case, for instance, when people request a demo of eMarketer, they're automatically added to SuperOffice. We create an activity for the responsible salesperson. Please reach out and do the demo. We add them to the project so we can track the activities and the sales associated with the campaign. So everything is really neatly tied together. We also update the contact interest. In this case, we tell SuperOffice that he's interested in a specific product based on his click there on the brochure. And lastly, we can also create a sale, a potential sale with a specific amount and a specific stage. So just by the visitor or the user receiving that email, clicking that brochure, we have a lot of things happening real time, automatically in the CRM, and we have complete tabs on the reporting in eMarketer, and the users in SuperOffice have complete tabs of what they need to do. They need to call an invite for the test drive. They need to follow up on the sale, and we have the pipeline already filled up for the salesperson by the behavior of his lead or customer there. So a lot of things happening automatically based on just that one click, and that is really what a marketing rockstar is able to do, create these things automatically in the CRM. Now let's just quickly nip into eMarketer and into, back one step, into the campaign here. We won't go through everything here at all, just show you where the automations reside. So this was the email there that went out, and you can see all of the different other components I have in my campaign. So this is where the marketer would be working, setting up the campaign, setting up the flows, setting up my measuring of the key performance indicators that are important for me in this campaign. How many sales qualified leads have I generated? How many test drives have I booked, and so on. And I have a good overview of my automations as well. Everything that should be automated is listed here in eMarketer. So where I work as a marketer, I have overview of my performance and my automations, and I can see what's going on with my campaign. And then I'm delivering the results of the campaign to my colleagues straight inside the CRM. Okay, so sorry about that. That was the first tip there on the using automations for your colleagues in the CRM. Tip number 2, and this is really focusing on the new version of SuperOffice G9, which we are so thrilled about because it gives them some new opportunities around where we can put content inside SuperOffice. And we're particularly fans of the side panel that used to be a mini card, but it's now called a side panel, and it takes up more space. And we think that there's a great use for that piece of real estate. So just let me nip back into SuperOffice. And so this is the panel we're talking about at the right-hand side here. I know you can collapse it, so maybe it looks like this, and you can expand it, and you can have some different views of data, previews of emails and documents, and so on. But the cool thing is here, you can also add web panels to this area here. So I've added a web panel over here. Just let me click that, called Timeline. And this is the eMarketer timeline that's available inside SuperOffice, but the side panel in G9 is a great place to put that timeline. What the timeline does, depending on the person I am looking on on the contacts archive, the timeline shows me what the marketing system knows about this person, right? So it shows me the timeline, the customer journey, the digital footprint, if you will, of that individual. So whenever I choose a new person over here, the timeline will reload and show me what eMarketer knows about this contact. And that's just a great place to have this information. So I can see a profile image, social networks. I can click straight through to these social networks onto the person's profiles, for instance, on LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever. There we go. We all know LinkedIn. I have my biography there from LinkedIn. I can see his interactions with our marketing material over time, and I can see the timeline of everything that he has been doing in our marketing material. So everything that eMarketer has sent or tracked on this person is available from the side panel over here. I can have a look at the different components. Okay, so we got an invite here in September. I can click and see exactly when was it sent, which links were clicked, how did the email look. So I have a full overview of the stuff that's going on here. Now, I imagine that you guys will be asking, how do I get this timeline onto the side panel? Because this is new in G9, and I will show you how you go about and do that. If you're not a SuperOffice admin yourself, rest assured that this is a very easy operation for your admin. So you can always share the recording with your colleague that has admin rights in your SuperOffice. So I'm just going to show you how to add the timeline on the side panel. The timeline is available throughout SuperOffice if you have integrated into eMarketer and SuperOffice. So it's available over here. When you click timeline, you should get a timeline in the central window here as well. So the link is already there in your SuperOffice. You just need to apply it to a different position there. So let's go ahead and do that. I will go into the SuperOffice settings and maintenance, and on that, and again, this is where you probably need some admin rights. If you don't have that, just let your colleague know and by showing him or her this video. I will go to the lists. I will search for GUI web panels. This is where you set up all of your web panels. And at somewhere here, it should be something called eMarketer Timeline. That's the one we already have on the SuperOffice logo there, and we can just copy that link. So I'm opening this one up by double clicking, and then you need to copy this link. This link is unique for your eMarketer and SuperOffice setup, so you can't use my link, it doesn't make sense. But what you do is you copy this entire link, just copy that, and then you go ahead and create a new web panel. You give it a name, timeline on side panel perhaps. You paste in the URL that you just copied, paste that one in there, and you give it a window name. This is basically for SuperOffice to use. So timeline on side. Nobody will see this. And then visible in, it's already selected. Side panel, just want to make sure that you have the side panel there. That's all you need to do. So give it a name, paste the URL that you just found, and say visible in side panel. Once you save here, it will appear on your list here. And when you go back to SuperOffice CRM, you will find it on the side panel. When you click this little triangle here, you will find it somewhere. I think it's along the top lines, the top where you have your web panels, but it may be also alphabetically. I'm not quite sure. You have to test a little bit there. If you do not see it right away, doesn't mean that something has gone wrong, but maybe you need to do a flush. And what you do there is after you've got SuperOffice, yada, 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 default.aspx ? Flush. You simply type flush, hit enter, and SuperOffice Online kind of reloads and refreshes with your latest settings there. And then you should be able to see the side panel over there. Just let me see some of the questions that are coming in. Katrina is asking, from which SuperOffice version is the side panel available? It is from generation 9, G9. So if your SuperOffice is green, I think you should be on generation 9 or G9, and it's available from the very first version of G9. Obviously, if you're on SuperOffice Online, it's always the latest version that you're using. But if you're on SuperOffice on-premise, you need to do some upgrading yourself there. And your SuperOffice or your SuperOffice partner to understand what that requires. That's way too technical for me. So from the version G9, Katrina, is what you need to have the side panel there. If you don't have G9, you will have a mini card, which means that the archive underneath here will kind of go all the way to the right, and the side panel will only be shown in the top corner here, if you will. You can still put the eMarketer timeline on that mini card. You just have a smaller view of the mini card there. So I think the side panel is really neat for this type of position. Okay, I hope that answered your question, Katrina. Now let me go ahead and move on to the next tips. This was the timeline and side panel, and you can get your colleague with an admin access to help you out copying that URL that you already have, pasting it into the side panel web panel there. All right, so the next tip is really about making information available in SuperOffice in a neat, in a good looking, and in an effective way. And that is by putting landing pages with content into SuperOffice. Okay, so in SuperOffice, again, using web panels like this one, you can put information that you've created in eMarketer into SuperOffice. Now, why would you go ahead and do that? Well, in our case, we have a need to make everybody aware of what we're doing in marketing. What kind of campaigns are we doing? What kind of events are we doing? What does our latest PowerPoint slide deck look like? Have we released any new videos? All this stuff that we normally would be communicating on Slack or Teams or inboxes, which works, but you know, any social collaboration tool like Teams or Slack or your inbox, they're cluttered. You've got information all over the place, and you're not always entirely sure what's the latest version of something. So what we've done instead is that we've created a landing page in eMarketeer and made that available inside SuperOffice on a web panel. So this means that this page is managed inside eMarketeer, and every time we do an update, it is automatically reflected here. And what we have in this case is marketing activities and campaigns that we're doing. So we have a countdown to the next event that's happening. We have an event schedule where we can see what's going on in the different months. We can link to invitations, landing pages, presentations, agendas, everything that's important about these events. You can link from this calendar to these different components. We have video playlists with our videos from YouTube, so our colleagues can check out all the latest videos or webinars or on-demand material we have made available. Obviously, they can be played right inside of the landing page here. We have a gallery with the latest screenshots or product shots or whatever it is. Maybe we have had an event that we want to share images of inside SuperOffice. We can do that. And if my bandwidth allows, it should be able to pop up here with a kind of a lightbox functionality. I can browse through the images here. Again, if I change an image in eMarketeer, it will automatically be changed here. This is just a web page or a landing page showing inside SuperOffice. Links to slide decks, a team presentation of the people that are working on this project, pricing, Google Maps, specific event venue or headquarter information or whatever it is. And obviously, if you don't need all of these bits, you can just delete them from the landing page you've created in eMarketeer, and it will go away from the landing page inside SuperOffice. But the trick here really is that in eMarketeer, I have this landing page available to me. Let's go into, here we are. I have the landing page. This is where I'm editing the landing page using eMarketeer. I'm adding content, I'm removing content. It's very straightforward, very intuitive. Just double click to edit anything. And whenever I change something, it automatically changes inside SuperOffice. So this is a really easy way to make a lot of information visually appealing and readily available to your colleagues. And you know, what better way to let them know about upcoming campaigns than saying, just go to the marketing overview in SuperOffice and you will find what you need. We're running a lot of webinars currently, so we've also created a webinar central where our colleagues can go and check out what webinars that are upcoming. They can click to register straight for the webinar themselves. That is available right there for them. Let's go back to the Webinar Central once more. I have webinar flow. So we have the invitation, registration, confirmation, webinar, and the follow-up. So I can briefly explain what is going on in the webinar flow. We have on-demand webinar playlists here. So everything about our webinars, when they're happening, how they're registering, all of that is made available right inside SuperOffice as well. They can obviously go to our website to check this out as well, or go straight to our YouTube channel. Just a nice way of making it visually appealing and readily available right inside SuperOffice. So just again, let me just quickly show you how you pop that into to SuperOffice. So in eMarketeer, when you're done building your landing page, you can go ahead and click publish. So this is the landing page I want to go inside SuperOffice. I click publish. I grab the URL, direct URL. I simply copy this URL. And then in SuperOffice, just like before, I will go to settings and maintenance. Here we go, settings and maintenance, bringing me into the admin module of SuperOffice. I will go to the list section again, lists, search for GUI where my web panels are. I will create a web panel. Just let me open the one I have, Marketing Overview. I will create a new web panel called Marketing Overview in this case. And in the URL, I simply paste the URL to the landing page I built in eMarketeer. And I say visible in web panel on SuperOffice button. So panel, web panel on SuperOffice button is the option that I want to go for, because that gives me a central placement inside SuperOffice, and it gives me a lot of screen to put that landing page on. And that's all you need to do. then maybe the flush command is needed, and the web page will be available inside SuperOffice. So very easy. And again, you only need to do that once, because once you update the information in eMarketeer, it automatically updates in here. Now, I've gone ahead and hacked this a little bit more. I had some more room over here in the navigator panel. And as you can see here, I have an option here called marketing activities. So when I actually click that one, it opens up this overview page right inside the panel. That's a pretty neat thing, and I was quite thrilled to figure out how to be able to, from this position, open up a web panel over here. So just let me quickly show you that, and you can just forget about it and know that it's in the recording if you want to do something similar. So again, on the GUI panel, web panel, I am taking my marketing overview. Here we are, marketing overview. Just let me open up that web panel that I created just before. Come on. I'm not the most patient person when I'm doing demos. Just let me reload this one. The demo devil is really playing tricks on me. Ah, there we go. Okay, so marketing overview, where are you? There you are, opening up. And what I need now is the window name, this piece, window name. I'm copying that for reference, and then I'm creating a new web panel, and I'm going to put in marketing activities or marketing overview or whatever I'd like to call it. And that instead of the URL, I'm putting, and just, this is for reference in the recording, SO protocol : browser dot, and then paste in the window name. So this last piece is from the previous web panel. This basically tells eMarketeer when you click the button in the left-hand panel here, it should open up the browser in SuperOffice and open the window that you've created. I know this is a bit techy, but it's really easy to do. You've got the reference now in the recording. And when you want to go, you want to select visible in navigator button, because that puts a button over here in your left-hand column there. So that is all you need to do. And then back in SuperOffice, you will have a neat little button on the left-hand side that takes you to the web panel with your marketing activities page. That's pretty sweet. Let me just check if there are any questions here. Do my colleagues need an eMarketeer login to see the landing page in SuperOffice? Thank you for that question, Signe. No, not at all. You need a login to eMarketeer, obviously, to create your landing page and work with your content. But once you make it available in here, they do not need to log into eMarketeer. This is available as soon as they're logged in. Information to your colleagues there that they need. They don't need to go to another system and log in and be users there. So hope that answered that question. Thank you for your feedback, Sina. Okay, so that was 2 examples of using landing pages in SuperOffice to really make SuperOffice the place to go for information and make it effective for you to share information about projects that you're doing. Now, web panels can sit on the SuperOffice button over here. You can even put web panels on dashboards. So you can share pages on the dashboard as well. Maybe you want to do evaluation reports from SuperOffice and show them inside dashboards in eMarketeer reports and show them inside, and that's possible as well. So this is actually an eMarketeer report, but I've put a web panel here and I've put the link to the report into the dashboard in SuperOffice. Yeah, so I think that covers landing pages in SuperOffice pretty well. And also actually in the slides, I've also put in how you put the URL in and how you put the SO protocol for that navigator button. So you have that for reference there as well. Just remember, you need your own links. These links won't mean anything to you. So there needs to be your own URLs that you copy out from your eMarketeer platform. Okay, tip number 4 is creating a marketing remote control for your SuperOffice users. Again, we're going to use a web panel and show some content inside SuperOffice, but in this case, we're going to show a form a form that's built in eMarketeer that enables your SuperOffice user to really remote control a lot of different things inside eMarketeer. So let us go into eMarketeer first and find this form that I have made available. Here we are. So basically in eMarketeer, I have created a form, and this form has some different options in it. Choose action. I have send meeting evaluation, send brochure, register for roadshow, invite for virtual event. These are a couple of options I can choose from my remote control. What do I want this form to be able to do? Depending on what they choose up here, different options show up. For instance, if I choose send brochure, it will show me the different brochures I have available. If I say register for roadshow, I have the different time slots and so on. So here I'm setting up the form, I'm setting rules for what content to be shown, and then also I'm setting up automations. So obviously, if someone says send the brochure for Porsche, I want the Porsche brochure email to go out automatically, and that is all taken care of by automation. So you working in eMarketeer, you set all of this up. For instance, send Porsche brochure. You set the automation up for that. You say, okay, send the Porsche brochure immediately when someone in the trigger form here says choose brochure Porsche. So you will set up the automations, everything that happens should happen automatically, and make that available in the form. So let's have a look at what the form could do in SuperOffice. Let's go to SuperOffice, go to a company and a contact, and then instead of the timeline, I'm going to bring up the form called marketing process, which is the form name that I've given it in SuperOffice. So there are a couple of things here to note. For instance, you can see that the contact details down here, they're already pre-populated. So when I choose another person, you will see the form reloads with the new contact details. So that means that I'm able to do, that was too quick. I'm able to automate things to a specific contact that I have in SuperOffice, and where I also have the data in eMarketeer. So for instance, I can say send meeting evaluation. If I click send, eMarketeer will send an email inviting the person to evaluate the meeting we've just had. They will go on to a form. When they answer the evaluation there, we could send an automation back into SuperOffice saying, okay, follow your customer has evaluated the meeting. Here are the results. You could also say send brochure. I would like to send the Porsche brochure. Just click send. And eMarketeer will say, all set, your request has been sent to eMarketeer. eMarketeer takes over, sends the brochure. If you have automations, for instance, if they click through to the brochure and actually reach the brochure on your website, we could create a task in SuperOffice saying, your contact has downloaded the brochure. Now is a good time. Let's bring up the form once again. You've got the register for roadshow. You can see that these time slots are already sold out, so you can go ahead and book a new one, send an event, or whatever it is. The neat thing here is when you change this form in eMarketeer and add more options to it, add more automations to it, it will automatically update in SuperOffice and have these options available. So let's go with the example here. I said send the Porsche brochure, hit send. eMarketeer will send off the Porsche brochure. It will end up in my inbox. I can look at it, click download. So this would be your recipient, your customer, obviously, opening the brochure. And we would like you in SuperOffice to be notified when this has happened. So let's go back into SuperOffice and see if I actually added that. Look at the activities. Yes, here we are. Here's an open activity, telephone out, call Klaus. He or she opened the Porsche brochure, see details under the web panel. I open up the activity. I can see exactly who did this, when did it happen. I can click the web panel here and see which links were clicked, what the email looked like, and so on. So I really have a closed loop. I am using my remote control over here to start something, send the brochure to Porsche, and then eMarketeer tells me back when the recipient actually clicked the link, and now is a good time to contact them because I know that they've consumed my content. So that's a pretty powerful way of using a form with automations to make actions available to your users in SuperOffice to carry out kind of marketing activities or fire off invites to people that you have prepared in eMarketer, but they have no access to eMarketer and they don't need that. They just use the remote control over here. All right, so a bit of nerd talk here on how to set this up. Again, we're using web panels just as before. We're grabbing the form URL and putting it into eMarketer, into SuperOffice, but we're adapting the form a little bit. Again, this slide is here for your reference. The first part here is the link to the form that eMarketer gives you. So that is pretty standard. And then you want to add on a little string here at the end, right? You add ident equals email and val equals and this tag. This tag really tells SuperOffice to add the active person's email address to the end of the form URL. Really techy. Anyways, you do this once and you put this URL into the web panel in SuperOffice. And whenever you choose a new contact in SuperOffice, the form will reload because it changes the email address there at the end, and it will show the contact details of that person. All right, so that is why the magic happens when you select a new person, the form reloads, and you will see new contact details there. So in the slide deck is your reference. You grab the form URL, you add this piece at the end, and you put it into a web panel in SuperOffice side panel, and you're good to go. You can really do some cool things with those trigger panels there. All right, let me know if you have any questions or if your mind is blown with either technical, boring stuff or inspiration. Let me know either way. All right, so the next one is a variation of this one, but it has to do with some of your internal processes that you may manage in marketing. So you are responsible for producing material, brochures, business cards, maybe if and when we can start doing physical events again, you do event collateral, key hangers, roll-ups, all this stuff that your organization might be needing from you guys, ordering this stuff from within from your team. So let us go into SuperOffice again, and let me show you a way to make this stuff available inside SuperOffice. I've created another web panel here, just as before. In this case, it's a form, and in this scenario, the form details here are pre-populated, not by a contact or a company in SuperOffice, but actually by the user that's currently logged into SuperOffice, right? So these details are my details that are automatically added because I'm logged into SuperOffice. Logged in, whatever, you know what I mean. So in this form, it's basically an order form that I make available to my colleagues. So instead of getting emails and team pings from things that from colleagues that needs things from me, I've centralized this. I'm just telling colleagues, just go into SuperOffice. That's where you can order everything. So here I've added a few different things that they can require from me. In this scenario, I guess I'm thinking about an event. So what would they like to order? Event presentation deck. If they choose that one, they can choose which presentation deck they would like to have sent to them. Business cards, all right. Then a notice comes up, please verify your contact details below. These are the ones that will be printed on your business card. Okay, fine. Key hangers, yeah, I need key hangers. I need 50 key hangers. Would you like to book a meeting room at the event? Yes, I can see that the 10 and the 11 time slots are already taken. I'm going for the after lunch time slot there. And then I also need the event polo shirt, and that brings up the sizing measurement here, and realistically I'm probably an extra large. So you can see, depending on what they answer here, different options will pop up and they can submit this request. The cool thing here is, since this is an eMarketer form, you can automate on all of the different individual answers, right? Because you don't know upfront what people will be asking for here. So if they just order business prints, you can send an email notification off to the reception. Let's say that they're the ones ordering the business cards. So the reception will have an email saying, please order business cards for this person. Here are the contact details. Maybe the event polo shirts, they just need to go into a report. So at some point you can pull an Excel list and send that off to the printer that does the t-shirts and so on. So you can have different things happening depending on what people choose here and depending on the automations that you've set up in eMarketeer. So that's pretty cool. Let's go into eMarketeer and bring up the order form. Here we are, order form in SuperOffice. Here is the form. Again, it's just a form built in eMarketeer. There's no technicalities or bells and whistles. I've obviously added a few display rules so that if they choose any of these options up here, they will pop up. They don't need to see the whole thing if they just want to order business cards. So the questions are shown and hidden depending on what they choose. I've got a contact registration field there that is automatically populated. So let me just take you through the steps of bringing that into SuperOffice. I would go to publish. I would go to direct URL and get my form URL. Copy that one. And just like before, we need to add that little bit of secret sauce. So here's what you will need to do. Here's the link again from eMarketeer. I just got the direct URL. And then at the end, I'm adding this tag again, ident email value equals USEM, which is the current user's email address, the current user that's logged into SuperOffice. So that means that when I'm opening the ordering page, it will be my contact details, obviously. When you open the order page, it will be your contact details that are in there. And then eMarketeer take care of the rest, automating everything from that thing there. All right. I hope that this gives some inspiration. Here's Jan saying, very cool to learn about these new opportunities. I'm glad. Here's a question from Klaus. Can you use this function as a bulk so that you're sending out multiple newsletters to 2 or more customers? Not using the form here, Klaus, you would need to go through, you need to select the different persons and then click the send button for each in this case. So for instance, if I wanted to send the brochure to Robert, I would have to choose the brochure Porsche and send to Robert. And if I wanted to do the same thing to Lars, I would choose Lars, choose send, and do that. So in this case, for the trigger form, you would need to do it one by one. Obviously, if you have a bigger send out that you want to do, you can do your selections and your filters and your whatnot in SuperOffice, creating a recipient list of, let's say, 100 people. And then you can ask your colleague in eMarketeer to address that selection, because from eMarketeer, you can address all of your selections and projects directly when you send something out there, Klaus. So let's go back to my campaign, or any campaign, basically. This one doesn't have any emails in it, so let's just grab one with an email. Let's see, this one has an email in it. Of course, I can go ahead and click send. I can send it now, or I can schedule it. And where I choose my recipient, I can choose SuperOffice Online or on-prem, depending on which integration I have up and running. And I can search for all of the projects and selections I have in SuperOffice. Select that and import the contacts, which means that they will be ready to be sent to. So that's how you would do a bulk send out, but from the eMarketeer side. The trigger forms are really more on a one-on-one basis there. So I hope that that covered your question, Klaus. We are closing in on the hour. Keep the questions coming. If you have them, I would be happy to take you through more examples here. I do have, in case we had time, I do have a few bonus tips that I will just quickly show you that are kind of interesting. I think project links is a hugely underrated feature in SuperOffice, where you can use eMarketeer links, eMarketeer landing pages, forms, and so on to show what's going on around a project. So just really quickly showing you where those are in my SuperOffice here. I have an event project. This is where I add all of the persons that are participating in my event. I can see all the event activities, the sales that are a result of this event, neatly organized in a project. And over here on the links piece is where you can easily add content to SuperOffice from eMarketer. So anything in eMarketer where you can grab a link, for instance, a report on a forum or a report or just a share on web link of an email, you can make those links available inside SuperOffice on the links page of a project. You just click edit, and here you can add more links to your project to make the content available to your, did I click edit? To make the links available to your colleagues there. It's not really loading. And then from here, they could go and click the evaluation report that would pull in the report real time from eMarketer showing the results of the survey, for instance. That was the evaluation of this event. So just a quick tip. Think about if you're doing a project, if you have marketing collateral or reports or surveys or similar that you want to make available to your SuperOffice users, the project links is a really easy place to do it. All right, so let's see if there are more things coming through. And we are closing in on the hour. The last fun little widget I want to show you is also using one of these forms. In this case, it is a little module, a little form that lets you send an SMS. eMarketer can send SMSs, obviously, and the neat thing here is that you can write these SMSs right from within the trigger panel over here. So again, I've created a form in eMarketer. It takes an email address, a mobile number, and then the text that I would like to go into the text message. When I select the recipient, it will be pre-populated, and I can write a message here. Hi, Klaus. Looking forward to seeing you at the event. Best regards. Kind of strange to send SMSs to yourself, but you get the idea. And then when I click send, this is just a form submit, but what it does on the eMarketer side is it takes this text, adds it to an SMS, and sends the SMS off to the recipient that I chose in here. Really, really easy, really, really neat. And the cool thing is that it's also stored inside SuperOffice because I've added it as an activity. Here, an SMS was sent to Klaus, and I can click here and I can see with what the SMS looked like, exactly what text went in there. So that is pretty easy and a fun way to use that right-hand side panel there as well. All right. So here's a question from Sina. Could signups and opening rate also be shown? So Sina, what you're asking is, could you share reports, for instance, for an email performance, open rate, click rates, and so on a project link? I guess that's what you're asking, because I think that question popped in. We looked at the project links. So yes, Sina, that is possible. In eMarketer, let's grab an email with some data and stats. Avenir, I think we've got some stuff in here, lead nurture. So here we have an email report. Here we are. So if this is the kind of stuff that you would be sharing, Sina, let me know in the comments if I'm going in the right direction at all. So here I want to click shared reports, create a shared reports of this email performance, report for welcome email, save and share. I have my link, copy that link, and simply put that link into my project in SuperOffice. Here we are. Let me see if it lets me edit. I think something. There we go. Add new link. Type in the URL, email performance report. Okay. Save that. And then an up-to-date version of that report will always be available from the project links. When they click that link here, the email report will open and they can see the performance of the email that went out. So I hope that answered that question, Sina. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you like it, Sina. Thank you for the positive feedback there. Okay, so guys, we're at the hour. Thank you for your questions. Keep them coming in the chat if you still have them. I just want to make sure that I mention that we have a couple of upcoming webinars focusing on SuperOffice and eMarketer, since this is kind of the topic today as well. The next one coming up on November 10th is all about the automations we can do for SuperOffice. So all of the things we briefly mentioned today, we will go through each and one of them in detail. How do you set them up in eMarketer? What kind of results do they produce in SuperOffice? What does the data look like in there, and so on. So we will go through meticulously each and every one of the automations there. Then on November 24th, we will be looking at lead management. So setting up a lead nurturing flow from a new newsletter subscriber through lead nurturing and handover to sales, and seeing how everything is set up and functions inside eMarketer and SuperOffice to effectively manage the new lead process and lead nurturing process there. And then lastly, in November 26th, we are focusing on event management. So invitations, registrations, reminders, confirmations, keeping everything in sync with your SuperOffice. How does that take place? You know, from a physical event or an online event, it doesn't make a difference. Just to streamline the whole event process in eMarketer and letting your colleagues know about what you're doing in SuperOffice is what this is all about. So if you need any help, reach out to me, reach out to the support team or to your eMarketer partner, and get some help on these details here. The recording will be there for you to dive through the stuff that we've done, and I will send you the slides with these little bit of a nerdy details in there, so you can use that for reference, either yourself in the SuperOffice admin module or with your colleague that helps you out doing that. So there are no more questions coming through at this time. Then I just want to make sure to thank you so much for joining us today on the webinar, for your questions that inspired both me and the other participants here. And then two things. I look forward to seeing you on an upcoming eMarketer webinar. And if you've done something really cool with eMarketer and SuperOffice, if you care to send me a link or just a couple of bullets or just the brief idea of what you did, that will be hugely inspiring for me and for the team at eMarketer. So if you've done something you think is really cool or just really simple and time-saving, go ahead and let me know. I would be really thrilled to learn more about that. So hit me up on klaus@emarketer.com with those kind of ideas. Okay. We're 3 minutes past the hour. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your enthusiasm here, and looking forward to seeing you at an upcoming webinar. Bye-bye, everybody.